Alright guys, so let's take a look at some of the things we could have to do. The reason I say could is because sometimes we don't have to do that, but sometimes we do based on how those blend shapes combine together. The downside of blend shape based rigging is when two blend shapes are combined together, they're not necessarily to be good. The result is unpredictable. Like we can do left and right looking, it's all fun up and down, right? But if we do this corner thing, you can see now, well, that part maybe it's not doing the right thing. Maybe it's arcing too much, right? Or but I'll look up, you can see, yeah, maybe that part is moving too much kind of thing. But I think this is good. This is really nice. This is maybe a little bit too much. That's too much over here, right? So those combinations may need some tweaking. I think the bottom one is the bigger problem here. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix that. So let me go to a post like that, right? I have both of those guys on. Let's take a look at that. You can see we have both the look down and look out, look down and look out, both of those guys on, right? Okay, so when that happens, we want to create a blend shape to fix it. Now, luckily that's not very difficult. What you do is grab those two blend shapes that you want to fix, and right click, there is a combination target. Okay, and you can just name it ribbon upper left eyelid, up, down, corrective. Okay, now this blend shape will be only turned on if the other twos are all on or all having some value. Either one of those guys are 0, meaning this one will be 0. So this value is basically the multiplication of those two values here that we use as combination target source. Okay, so now what I can do is go ahead and start tweaking it. So let me just move this away, and here I can open my geometries. Oh, let me do the same thing here so we can tweak them all together. So these guys, right, at combination target, just again up, down, corrective, right, same name. And what we can do is start tweaking the shape. Go to the control vertex, I'm gonna grab that. Now that's apparently doing a weird arc, so I'm gonna try to move it up. Okay, and this guy, maybe just fix the contour a little bit. This is not doing that much over here. Okay, that feels a little bit better. All right. So what's happening is that it's still gonna be the same as before, but when you have both on, it's gonna also gradually turn up that blend shape we were working on earlier. Those two blend shapes, right? You can see now the value is 0.82, right here. So we can do that for others if you think we need to do that. Like here, I think I need to do something, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and create another corrective shape. But this time it's going to be driven by look down and look in. Let me go actually a bit further this way. Okay, so look down and look in at combination target. Down and in, corrective. And the same thing here. Oh, actually not adding a target. So it's going to be, again, this one and this one. Combination target. Okay. So, down, in, corrective. Alright, now I can just go ahead and fix it. So again, it's just having a really weird arc when I combine those two things together. So I need to go ahead and tweak it to make it go back to a smooth arc. Okay. All right. So now we have multiple blend shapes that involves not just for blend shapes to up and down, in and out. We also create corrective shapes to make some of the shapes look better, right, when we go to a combination. All right, so that's going to be the control for the eyeball. Let me go ahead and back to frame 1, frame 0. Oh, I have auto key on, so it's keyed no matter what. I'm going to go ahead and break the connection or delete the keys and 0 that out. Okay, now final thing we want to do is some cleanup, right? So what I can do is grab the spheres and then just go isolate and grab every individual one, and then the face we can make follow skin, right? And then we can grab all these guys, Control G, eyelid, ribbon, follow, of course follicles, eyelid, ribbon, follow, right? And these guys and the others we can grab them together and group, call this eyelid, ribbon, GRP, and that goes to the facial rig group. Okay, now also inside of these guys we can add all these, so the follicles, the body joints of the ribbon and the ribbon surface, we just keep the controllers, right? And also we can give the controllers a new material or existing material, a surface shader 2, actually surface shader 1. Probably need to name them properly. Actually surface shader 2. Okay, so that's my controllers now. Okay, now they can follow the skin when I move my controller, right? And they can control the skin when I need to do that. Alright, so finally we can start refining the weighting. So what I can do is just drag this guy down to -1, or I can go further. I cannot actually because I set up the limitation. Let's take a look at the geometry. You can see it's not very good. Right, we're going to go for pen skin weighting. Okay, so do a final touch of the skin weighting, right? So what I can do here is, oh, there's actually one thing we can do to help us a little bit before we move on. We can grab that point and go for rigging, skin, hammer, skin weight. That's generally gonna give you a slightly better weighting. You can see they're more even, right? All right, and then of course we have to manually do something to make the weighting better. So let me go show the joints. Of course, I need to go grab my eyelid, lower and upper eyelid, and then the geometry. Actually, I need to go grab my joints here and my geometry. Oh, this time I actually just want the upper. That's easier actually. Okay, I can go for pen skin weighting. And then this time I can change my operation to add and a value of 0.05. Here, that way when I'm painting, I'm just gradually give it a little bit more weighting here to give it a little bit more control. Right. So that way I'm not pushing too far, especially for the people who is using like a mouse rather than a tablet. This is extremely helpful because if you're using a tablet, you kind of have this pressure sensitivity there that can help you a little bit, right? But if you're not using a tablet, then you kind of wanted to set the value here, right? To set the setting here to add and the value to be very little, so you can just quickly add it. I mean, slowly add it. Otherwise, it's adding too much and it's hard to make adjustment. Okay. Another thing you kind of want to do is you kind of wanted to go here, go to display and turn off the drawing override or the color feedback, because the color feedback destroys the visibility of the texture, which is actually more important to me because I kind of wanted to see how my texture is stretching, right? So another hint here for any character modeler is that when you are done with your model and start doing your texturing, if you want it to be like animation ready, right? You probably need to model the eye into a half open, half closed kind of like state. So that when we're painting the texture, this part will have more resolution to, to work with. And when you close the eyelid, it will feel better, right? So that's just some detail for real production. But if you're not gonna ever close the eye, I guess you don't care. Okay. All right. So that's the weighting tweaking part, as you can see. Show the joints. Okay. All right, you can do the same thing for the lower eyelid. So I leave that for you to tweak, but it's basically the same thing that you have to do, right, to fix the weighting on the lower eyelid. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the eyelid control. Thanks for watching. See you next time.